Whatever, take one. Okay.
We'll start with your name and what instrument you play in the band.
Alright, my name is Tyler Larrabee and I play guitar and I also do some backup vocals.
So I guess explain this process of making an album from your perspective.
The way I went about making this album was I knew that we had some good stuff in our last two projects, but I knew there was a lot that needed to be improved on. So I kind of spent some time like sitting down and listening through our last album and kind of focusing on what could have been better. So I think the biggest thing for me was there was a lack of emotion in the last album. It was like everything had been perfected. It was like had been put through this machine and like sounded really perfect, which kind of took away a lot of the meaning behind some of the songs. So in this album, we wanted to have live drums, live guitar amps, like real, like make sure we really focused in on the lyrics and the words and make sure they were as emotionful as they could be, and powerful, so that it wasn't just like a good song, but it was something that really like spoke to other people.
So what is different in this album in both the writing and production in comparison to past work?
So yeah, this album is recorded in a real studio. First of all, we're here at Our Relation Studios. We have the same producer, Colton Carnley, with CX3 Music, and the last two projects we did were at his home studio, which is very good, but there are limitations with that. And so with this album, we're getting to do real live drums, real live amps for the bass and the guitar, which is making some really cool sounds, and real synthesizers and electric keyboards, like stuff like the Juno 60 and the Rhodes electric piano. They're like legendary keyboard sounds that like we're not just using like a sample pack, or we're not just like using, you know, a plug-in of that. We're actually getting to use the real thing. And even though it may be a subtle difference, like it makes a world of difference in the way that it sounds and the way we get to express ourselves using it through these songs.
So what are the highlights and the lowlights from this album, the good and the bad?
You mean like of recording the album or of like the actual songs?
Like this album, what have been the highlights of this process?
Okay.
And the lowlights?
For me, like the highlights of this project have been like, I've been getting to actually mess around with like pedals and amps and like turning knobs and like making the sounds happen like with analog stuff, rather than just like plugging it in through DI and then changing the amp sounds later. So like I have gotten to like, there was a moment, Chris Robbins with Our Relation has a 1965 Super Reverb Fender amp, which is like amazing. And I plugged it in, I plugged my guitar in, and I was like playing with it because I wanted this reverby sound, and I was like, oh, it's all right. And it's a real tube amp, so if you want distortion, you actually just overdrive the amp. That's what makes it have an overdrive sound. So we just cranked the volume all the way to the top. I just went, hit this chord, and the whole thing just went like, it was just so powerful. And that was like one moment I was like, that's exactly what I wanted. Like that was so cool. So there's been moments like that where I've been messing around. We've got a Vox AC30, a Fender Hot Rod Deluxe, all like real tube amps and lots of pedals, which have been super fun to mess around with. But the low light has been that because I'm doing all of these real things, I have to overdub. Like I have to do multiple takes like of all these different sounds because they're combined together. One thing, for those of you who don't know, when you record guitar, unlike another instrument, like if you record piano, you just play it, and once you play it right, that's it. You have one take of the piano. With the guitar, if you want the guitar to sound as powerful and punchy as it does when in recorded music usually, that's up 6, 8, 12 takes of the same guitar part, like layered over each other. That's what gives it a fullness, because otherwise it just sounds like rinky-dink, whatever. So, like some of these guitar tracks you're gonna hear on the album, you know, like on whatever, you hear the bun-up, 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 and it sounds like my guitar just has a really good tone. It's actually 22 guitars playing at the same time, and I had to play them all perfectly. So it wasn't like, oh, like I'm gonna come in here and do this. Like I spent 3 days doing nothing but guitar for 10-hour days. Like it's been a process, just layering it over and over again. So it sucked. I'd never want to play guitar again. So yeah, no. If you join a band, don't pick guitar. Pick another instrument. So.
What is the meaning of this whole album?
That's a deep question. I think for me, and I guess I'll try and speak on other people's behalf in the band, but I think overall, the meaning of this album is as people, we go through life and we have different phases. And so this album is kind of like a pivotal moment, like reflecting on a pivotal moment in any person's life where you've been doing something a certain way for a long time. And now you've hit a point where you have to go on. Like, it's not like, oh, I have the choice maybe to chase something else, but it's like inevitably, like, you have to move on in life. You don't have a choice. And just how do you feel about that? So every song is kind of a different take on that, whether it's, screw this, I'm just gonna try and avoid it, or whether it's, I just don't care anymore, or whether it's this gives me a lot of anxiety. Every song has a different kind of take on that emotion. For me and Benji, that's going on to college. We've been in high school and public education our whole life, and now we are forced to decide, are we going to college, are we not? Where are we gonna go to school? What career do we wanna pursue, So it's been a really good way to express that just sense of I have to move on and I don't really know what's ahead of me, and I'm gonna try and make the right choice, and it scares me, but it's exciting all at the same time. So, yeah.
What's been your favorite part of making this new album?
Like the recording process or the writing process?
Overall, you think back and this is like your most favorite so far this process.
My favorite part of the process of the album has been, I don't know, I'd say two things. One, getting to like be together as a band in the studio and like get to work on all the things kind of at the same time. Like, I'll be like trying to find these really cool guitar tones, and Zach will be working on these really nice synth tones. We'll be rewriting vocals and like doing all these things like together. Like, we really write best and make the best music when we work together. And so it's been nice to be able to actually get to do that in this album, because with the last ones it's kind of been like, all right, we're doing guitar today, so I'll show up, and like other people kind of play video games out in the other room or whatever. But it's been nice that we actually all get to work together and like give our input on everything. Yeah, I would also say that I've really liked the writing process. It's kind of challenged me and humbled me a lot, because I kind of get attached to like a lyric or something about the song, and then I'll come in and then I've got like 4 people who are all like way better than me and know what they're doing, being like, yeah, this kind of like doesn't really work, or it kind of sucks. And I'm like, my ego wants me to just be like, no, it doesn't, like I like this part's going in. But then the other part of me is like, well, this guy's had a number 11 on the Billboard charts, so I should probably listen to what he has to say, So,
what's one weird non-musical talent that you have?
The one weird talent I was gonna say is musical. I can play the nose trumpet pretty well. What's the song? Amazing Grace? There you go. There's my weird musical talent.
Gotcha. Is this your favorite album you've worked on to this day?
Yes.
So why?
This is my favorite album. This is my favorite album I've worked on because it is what I feel like is the most complete, in the sense of all of the guitar tones, drums, bass. Like, we got to really fill everything out and have the good tones we want to have. 2, because like thematically all of the songs kind of fit together. There's no like they're not all about the exact same thing, but they work together. And 3rd, I really like how all of the music is going in the same direction. The last album was kind of like a mixtape in the sense of we had like these like acoustic songs and these like rock songs, these kind of R&B electric songs, whatever. This album is really all moving in the same direction musically. It's more of an like alternative rock, which is cool. Like I think in the past when we've come up with a new song, like you're like, oh, Stonefish is coming out with a new song, you don't really know what to expect. It could be hard rock, it could be like super rappy, electric, whatever. But this time it's like all of our songs are in the same vein of like genre of music, and that is like important to me. So
you said the album is more cohesive with itself.
The album is more cohesive in the sound, it is in genre, it is more cohesive in the theme and the lyrics, and it's more cohesive in the sense that all of the parts are really full and well worked out and sound really good by themselves. So
I agree too.
thank you.
If there is one, and you want to share it, what is the secret behind the band name Stonefish?
Oh, so I actually came up with the name. Okay, so here's how the story goes. Zach and I were just had been meeting up and jamming with this guy named Sam, who is no longer in our band. I almost said he's no longer with us, but that sound makes him sound like he's dead, but no. Yeah, so it's me, Zach, and Sam, and our filler name was the Thunder Monkeys, because when Zach was a kid, he like had a pretend band and it was called the Thunder Monkeys, so we were just going by that until we thought of something good. And we had been throwing around all kinds of different names, and during that time, Ben Collins joined the band, and so eventually we had got it down to, I favored the name Stonefish, and Zach favored the name 51 Cards. And we just asked Ben what his favorite was, and he preferred Stonefish, and so that was the name. And it actually came from, I was just sitting in my room. I really like the name The Yardbirds, which is a band Eric Clapton was in. Like, I liked how Yardbird. And so I was sitting in my room just like looking around at things and trying to name them in 2-syllable words like that. Like I would be like, I don't know. I'd just be like, make everything 2 syllables, like camera, white chair, like whatever it was. So I had this little fossilized fish, like desk paperweight thing, and it was like made of rock, and so I was like, Stonefish, and it just went on the list. It wasn't like, oh wow, that's like really good, but it just like went on the list, and I was like narrowing them down, and I ended up with that one, and I came up with a little logo of the stick figure skeleton fish, and I pitched it, and yeah, Ben Collins liked it better, so there we go, Stonefish.
Stonefish. Well, that's all my questions. So do you have anything you want to tell me about anything? What is going on with talking about?
Anything I want to tell you?
Arguments.
In a few months, all of us will be in college. When the band started, we were all in high school, and we've progressively every year lost a member to college, and this is the last year that we have anyone in high school. And so now we're all going to be in college, and so it's going to be a little bit different. Like when you're in high school, it's like you're just at home and you can do Stonefish as a hobby, but when you're in college and you have more stuff to do, it's like it's a little bit harder. And especially if I've been thinking about going to MTSU, which is, you know, farther away in the commute and everything, and it's like, how's that going to work? And then also Zach will be a senior next year.
That's the easy part.
Is it? Because that's the part I couldn't do. See, that's why we're such a good team, Zach.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, now he's going to graduate and get a real job. So can he keep doing Stonefish? Like, this is his hobby and this is what he likes, but like once you have a real job, like where you're on salary, can you have the time to do something like this? So with this album, I was really like, this very well could be our last chance to like make it, in a sense, like make it worth sticking around, like start making legitimate money and pulling real legitimate crowds and following. And so I really hope that this album is as good as I think it can be, because I think it could keep the band together in the long run. So yeah.
Emotional for a second. That was good. That's it.
Awesome.